in using those funds wisely. The goal is to use that to build the community momentum that we started with our call yesterday. We've seen a lot of great conversations happening, both text and voice. Already have a couple PRs and PRs that emerged into our code base from the community. So we're going to continue to build that. And then the next thing that you'll see from me and the work stream from a governance perspective is a budget proposal. Most of us, including me, end our salaried jobs with Shapeshift on October 31st. And that core maintainer group, it's looking like it will have between 10 and 15 engineers in it. And so I'll be putting together a proposal to keep us, those of us full-time, to be able to maintain the code base, work on some of the primary features, but continue to make sure that we're maintaining the open source repos. Is that any other information that would be helpful? Or
that was great, Josh. Yeah, I look forward to seeing those budgets and things like that come through. And again, congratulations on your appointment to the workstream leader.
Yeah, congrats, Josh. Really glad to have you on board in that way and to have the DAO support. Just a quick reminder to anyone in the audience, if at any point during any of these conversations you have a question for one of the speakers, either raise your hand or just put your question in stage chat, and we're happy to ask it for you on stage.
And I see, does someone, Danya, have their hand raised?
Yeah, she was raising her hand before things started, but let's see. We'll give her a chance if she wants to pop up here. But otherwise, I would just keep things rolling, Tyler.
All right, yeah, we invite. Oh, is she up? Nope. Okay, we'll just keep going on. So yeah, thanks, Josh. Also to highlight on those slides, it's cool to see you guys got over 6 million votes, it looks like, there too. So quite a showing from the community for those two proposals. So congratulations. We're going to move on to the products one as well. And actually, Cow is not here on the call, so Fox McCloud's going to speak for us. And actually, Fox McCloud, if you could, I got a request from Pete Coyne to see if he could hop up and communicate really quickly before he's got an appointment. So if Pete Coyne's still around, I'd love to have him hop and jump up in line. And give
I just invited them both up. I got Pete now.
Hello. Yeah, thanks a lot. Annual checkup for the dog. And so appreciate you letting me jump in front. Just wanted to let the community know that based on a bunch of feedback, the DAO works. I've reworked the marketing and growth proposal as well as the funding proposal. Those are both live in the forums and will be in the ideation section of Boardroom starting tomorrow. The more feedback we get, the better that these proposals can become. And so, please hop in there and take a look. Both have been linked in the proposal discussion section. They're both on the forum. You can find them on Boardroom under the forum section. Lots of great feedback from a lot of members of the community about, refining the process. And really, I guess I would like to express worth the struggle. I think it only created a better proposal for the DAO and everyone involved.
Thanks, Pete. Good luck with the dog appointment, and I look forward to seeing this in ideation so we can get some more feedback and push it all the way through to a vote. Does anyone have any questions for Pete? It looks like he might be running. Do we have any questions about marketing beforehand? It will also be going through the process, so it will just jump into the ideation page. So we will have another call here before anything's through if people would like to talk more about marketing and growth with Pete. So now we've got Fox McCloud on. Would you like to talk about the proposal that actually just passed?
Sure. Thanks, Tyler. And yeah, I'm pretty sure it just passed. I checked it just a minute or two before 3, and I know it was expiring at 3. So hopefully, unless Eric or some other massive whale came in, that should have passed, which is very exciting. Thanks to everyone who voted. I'm sure you guys have seen me in various meetings or threads, and definitely if you've ever needed a POAP, you've probably already interacted with me. But I am part of this product workstream. Chow, as Tyler mentioned, is going to be the interim workstream leader. She just wasn't able to make this today. I'm going to be a project manager. The team also is going to include Diggy as a UX manager. We have Beard and Duve, I think is his Discord name, as UI and UX designers. Hoff as a designer and illustrator. And then we also have a couple more open positions. So if product workstream is something that you guys are interested in, by all means, reach out. We have loved all the community engagement so far. One of our first tasks is going to be working on a product roadmap. Really, that is going to be working with the team, working with engineers, and working with, of course, the community to figure out kind of what products and projects need to be prioritized first. And then it will be our job to kind of get them across the finish line, making sure everything gets done in a timely and efficient manner, and hopefully at or preferably even under budget. And yeah, we're going to help make this open source Shapeshift and this decentralized Shapeshift the best financial product out there. And so we're very excited to hit the ground running. And like I said, if you have any questions or want to contribute, we are only a ping away, and we're happy to take any questions if anyone has any.
Fox McCloud, is there a best way if someone in the community is interested in joining this work stream? What's the best way to reach out or start being involved?
That is a great question. I don't have the answer. If Chow has a preferred method, feel free to ping myself, feel free to ping Chow, or feel free to just start a thread in any of these amazing channels, whether it be general or the ideation ones or any of the community forums. I'm sure Willie might have something to add. Yeah, thank you, Willie.
Yeah, we've had already a few community members who have reached out, and we have expressed interest both in like applying for these full-time roles as well as just being available for as needed work. So if you're a product manager or a UI UX designer and you already have a full-time role, but you're interested in maybe writing a feature spec or doing some mock-ups for a specific feature, then definitely reach out to Chow or Fox McCloud, and we'll make sure you're on that list of like as needed contributors. And then now that the proposal has just passed, I think Chow is going to be posting some job descriptions for these open roles, as well as a process for people to apply. So stay tuned for that. That should be coming very soon.
One quick question, and it's kind of follow up later, but Fox McCloud or Willie, do either of you know if the product workstream has decided on any like regularly scheduled meetings that would involve the community, either for updates or community conversations or anything like that? Or is that still coming?
Yeah, I know. That's a great question. I know product office hours are planned. This will be bi-weekly, so every 2 weeks, just an open forum for anyone to kind of come hear what the product workstream is working on, ask questions, propose feature ideas. And then sometimes we also have we'll have a special topic. Like, for example, maybe we've just done some user tests and Diggy will share the results of a user test or survey. Or if we're doing an exploration around layer 2s to integrate, we might do kind of an overview of layer 2s. Also, we're going to be doing, I think these will be weekly, but UI UX design reviews. This is something that we did at Shapeshift, and it was an opportunity for stakeholders who were interested to see the UI UX designs as they're in progress, so before they get handed over to developers. But while they're in the explorations or seeking feedback, it's a great opportunity for anyone who has UI UX design chops to see these designs in progress and give feedback on them before they're finalized and handed over to developers. Those are the two that I know of. I don't think any have actually been put on the calendar yet, but I know that Chow is planning on continuing to do both of those recurring meetings.
Right. Well, I'm sure that the product team will update when that happens. And just two small details, just looking at the slides. Well, one, just congratulations to the product team. This proposal actually just passed soft quorum and governance in Snapshot just about 15 minutes ago. So congrats on your completely created and funded work stream. And second, just FYI is that if anyone's looking at the slide, the budget actually ended up being a little bit less than that. It was actually reduced slightly. So it's 338, not 349.
For that clarification, John. Always happy to save the DAO some Fox. And yeah, congratulations to everyone inside that work stream and anyone who's going to be participating inside that. It's exciting to see that we have some organization behind our roadmap and all of the product features that we're going to be rolling out. Fox McCloud, if you could hop onto that next slide. The other active proposal we have is the one that I proposed just last night, and that is to fund the operations work stream. Oh, does that say product? That's supposed to say operations. And it's supposed to be through December of 2022. Sorry, it looks like that URL will need to be updated. But
Well, it's
the
through
proposed,
January 2022, right?
just yeah, January 2022. It's a 4-month proposal. And the proposed budget for that is 136,400 in USD, and that is the limit. This budget is definitely something that is flexible to the needs of the DAOs and has a budget to be scalable up to a team of 7 through January of 2022. Yeah, I'm gonna have to update this slide for typos. And any unused budget will be returned at the end of the quarter there. And if you'd like to know more about the operations work stream, what we get involved with, the tools we use, and what we monitor, we're going to have a kickoff on Tuesday, September 10th. That's this next Tuesday at 11 a.m. And it will most likely be here in the stage as well. So please join us there if you're interested in participating in that work stream and seeing what operations is going to be getting up to. And the proposal just went live. So it looks like it's still very young, and we've just got a few votes on there, and the proposal will close just before this call next week. So I'd love to get your votes and your participation out there in boardroom on this proposal, and hope to see us pass an operations work stream into the future. Does anyone have any questions about operations before we continue on down the list?
No questions for me. I just want to say I know there was a lot of discussion on the forums about this work stream and some great feedback back and forth, and I just really appreciate you, Tyler, taking that feedback and the modifications you made. I think it was a good process, and I'm personally in support of this work stream and plan to vote for it. So thank you.
Yeah, totally. It was definitely a new experience, but I'm happy to have done it, and I'm happy for Eric to be the bad cop when he needs to be with budgets, because otherwise this DAO would just be giving out money to everyone. So the conversation was very much appreciated, and I definitely have a keener eye to the budget for the department because of it, or work stream because of it. All right. We're going to move on down the list. So these are now anything that is in ideation. So they've made it all the way through the forum posts and discussions inside Discord, and they're up for ideation where people can comment and signal votes for that before we get to a final proposal. Do we have Marley on the call? I'd love to have him give a more detailed description of his proposal and ideation. He wasn't here last.
Yeah, I'm going to invite up all the folks that are mentioned here just to get them ready.
Sure.
Sweet.
So I wasn't prepared to talk. So you want to hear more about the proposal that I have up?
Yeah, please. Sorry, I didn't mean to put you on the spot. I gave last call. I gave like an extremely high level overview of what I understand from our conversations and me reading your proposal. Sure. But I'd love to have a little bit more of a source from the mouth here before we get to actually voting on it. So this is your stage, please.
Yeah. So there's it hasn't moved on. There's still some details I'm working out on, like the current validator. So hopefully that'll be soon. The formal proposal. Essentially, what I'm trying to do is create the new income stream for the DAO. And so at Shapeshift US, I was on a team that ran some proof of stake validators on a couple of blockchains, mostly the Cosmos blockchain and some others. And I would like to keep that. It was pretty profitable for the business, and we got pretty good at it. So I'm trying to bring that to the DAO. So the idea would be to run a couple of these things, starting with Cosmos, this current proposal, and earn some diversified income for the DAO. What we're looking at right now is taking the atoms that we earn and selling them for USDC, and then sending USDC back to the DAO. I can't really, it's hard for me to project, but last year it was about $250,000 that were earned in the form of atoms. So we're going to try to send 70% of the profits from commission back to the DAO. And that's it. Do you have any questions?
I think that's a great proposal, and I'm really excited to see us carry over that revenue. I don't have any questions, but we want to give the community a second in case anyone's been wondering about validators before moving on.
How much was
I got
staked
a
to earn
question.
200 people? Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to ask. So, does this proposal itself include the functionality for Shapeshift users to be able to stake, or would that be in
That's
a
out of
separate?
scope.
Okay,
That was
cool.
more, I think that's already in the product roadmap, I think, or it's been thought about. I don't have that expertise, and so I'm just trying to get this part working, the actual nuts and bolts of validating started, and I would love for it to be integrated with the platform and the Shapeshift. Anything beyond that is like awesome.
Okay, cool. So this would be to basically using a validator that already has a lot of Cosmos delegated to it, and take 70% of the revenue generated from that validator from commissions and allocate that to the treasury. And then in the future, it could make a lot of sense for when Shapeshift is ready to give users the ability to stake right in our interface to default the validator to the validator that generates revenue for the DAO.
Yeah, I would
Yeah,
love
I
to
mean,
see
I'm
that.
personally hoping that this is something that the product work stream will pick up or create a spec, and maybe even a bounty gets created, because once that validator is set up, it's definitely in the best interest of the DAO, at least from my perspective, to send as much stake there as possible.
Yeah, and like I'm looking forward to doing some co-marketing with the with the DAO and helping get that message out there. That's not where I excel, and so I'm excited to kind of dig into these technicals.
One question I have for you, Marley. So I know that right now at Shapeshift I think there's 5 validators that are being run. Is this current proposal specifically for one validator, only the Cosmos validator, or does this specific proposal account for all 5 of them?
This is one. It's specifically Cosmos. It was under the moniker of Velocity. The other ones are just outside of the scope of what I can take on right now. I tried to make it clear that like if this works, this is kind of like a model, and I would love to keep building them. So this is just for Cosmos.
Thanks for answering my question. With all these work streams that are taking money out of the DAO, I'd love to see a proposal that is actually going to put money into the DAO. Great work on it. I'll be voting yes. Thank you.
Cool. Yeah, it's also fun. This stuff's block by block, so really you're earning continual income. So it will be pretty constant stream. I think we're going to do biweekly. Try to do biweekly as per the proposal. And Elma in chat, stage chat asked how much was staked to earn. That's a great question. Some of that was self-delegated atoms that I will not carry forward, but I think it's about 500,000 atoms that are currently staked. I probably should look that up before I start talking. It's about 457,000. So, and it's currently positioned like in the 60s. So it's in a good spot to getting onto that list of top validators is really hard.
It should be noted that it's in that position now without the Shapeshift branding. It's a unknown validator that we purposely kept out of the public view. But once it's renamed to Shapeshift, I expect that to go up.
Yeah, great point. Thanks, Michael. Well, there was one other question that I think is worth asking Marley that was in the stage chat. PTT asked, what happens to the other 30%? You want to just speak quickly on
I was not ignoring that on purpose. Yeah. I did not see it. Yeah, so that will be what my business is going to use to cover overhead. I'm trying to start this new thing, taxi stake. There's more on this in the proposal itself, but the other 30% is what I'm going to try to earn and like incentivize me to do it well and keep the thing online. So yeah, I don't think anyone's done something like this. So it's going to be interesting to see how. I'm excited.
Thanks, Marley.
Yeah, thanks for going in detail, Marley. Excited to see Taxi Stake prove out and then hopefully validate all the chains. Looks like we have Outraged Human up here as well, and he's next on the agenda. Would you like to have a stage to communicate your proposal a little bit more?
I've got to follow the guy who's going to bring in revenue. Yikes. So just a brief overview. It sounded like John and Willie had kind of already started a discussion about extending the LP or farming rewards in the for Shapeshift or Fox, I should say. And I've taken over that now, and so we've got a proposal text listed in ideation now. That's the text that I'm going to be converting into the formal proposal here shortly. I think it sounded like in another 2 days. Correct me if I'm wrong there, Willie or John. But yeah, this is just to ensure that we maintain a realistic amount of liquidity in the Uniswap V2 pool for the Fox ETH pair. Currently, I think we're sitting at around 20 million, which is pretty good for a project in this stage of growth. And we don't want to lose, we want to maintain as much of that as possible. So the proposal is surrounding reducing the farming rewards so that emissions continue to start going, or emissions start to go down, using less and less of the treasury over time, but keeping enough incentive there to hopefully keep that pool as deep as possible, since we don't have a very broad centralized exchange presence currently. That's about all.
Do you want to just go over maybe the changes? Because some people are familiar to the original. What the original proposal was essentially a 67% reduction in rewards over 9 months. But then with your help, there's been some changes. So maybe just go over what those changes are, and then people can look at it in the ideation.
Sure, yeah. So we did some polling on the forum, and the most popular, unless things have changed in the last 6 hours or so, the most popular was to reduce rewards by 33% instead of 66%, I think was your original proposal. And we also, polling showed that the majority of the community supported a 9-month extension, but it was later determined that the DAO doesn't have enough Fox to support a 9-month extension today. But they will it will after 4.5 months. It'll actually happen sooner than that. But so what we decided to do was we decided to cut the extension from 9 months down to 4.5 months. That way, after another 3 months or so, we can get another proposal going to extend it by an additional 4.5 months. That way, we meet that 9-month time frame that the community seemed to enjoy. And with the 9 months tacked on to the original 3 months that started after the airdrop occurred, that'll give Fox 1 full year of liquidity incentives, which is should be a good start for the project overall.
Perfect. Yeah, I really appreciate your feedback on this the last few days. Outrage Human, I think, is really good, and I am in support personally of your current proposal. I think it's a good one and the right move for the DAO. And I would encourage anyone who's got any questions on that to either come up and ask a question or put it in stage chat now, or ask in our proposal discussion thread where Outrage Human has been pretty active. And I just appreciate you picking up this torch to move it through. You have some really good thoughts on it.
Yeah, happy to carry it. Thank you.
I was gonna say I read a lot of it, and I think it's nice. It all makes sense, and I actually think it's like so important for it's going to generate revenue too, and like it's so important for us to remain have liquidity on these protocols that and the longer the better. So I think it's good too.
I got a question. In general, I totally support this. I've supported another extending the Uniswap staking rewards. And I understand the limitation around not enough to fund a full 9 months. Can we not create a contract that can go for 9 months that we can just top up after some time? I don't know if maybe that is not technically feasible.
That would be ideal, but my understanding is that the current contract doesn't work that way. Element was pretty clear when we deployed the first contract that it has to be everything up front or it breaks it. And that's the reasoning why, Josh, is like, even if we found another contract, then that would mean another audit and more dev work. So I think our theory is that the best thing is to just copy and paste the current contract and not change any variables. But if
I
we
see.
did have a contract, we could do that in theory, but I'm a little nervous about changing any variables at this juncture.
Uh-huh. Yep, that makes sense. So that means just from a future work perspective, right? And we're getting ready from the engineering and the product standpoint to be able to support the ability for users to be able to interact with the current staking contract and a new staking contract at the same time. That means in 4.5 months, we would have to have the ability to interact with a third staking contract. Both we'll need to deploy a new contract and then also have the interface for people to interact with it. Is that correct?
That is correct, but it doesn't necessarily. I mean, the change that we make for this first contract or for this first additional contract can be the same UI UX for when we add more contracts. You can look at like a lot of farming projects, especially like the vaults that have a ton of pools. You'll see they all have this like inactive section where it's all of the previous pools that are no longer being rewarded, and they're kind of like buried a little bit relative to the active pools. But it gives anyone who's ever staked in one of those pools the ability to unstake, even a year or so after the program's ended.
Yeah. I realize that there's going to be, it's a lot of it's the same thing. And we can either copy paste or create some abstraction layers to make it easy to add more. Just kind of thinking about as we go into making this next interface, what are we going to future proofing it as much as possible, right? So appreciate it. Thanks.
I also agree. It'd be really awesome if we could have a contract where we could just top it off, as opposed to having to deploy a new contract and have everyone unstake and restake. I do think that's possible. It's just, like John said, it's not possible in our current contract, and would require updating the contract and then having it audited, which is probably not something we want to do. Make a blocker for this to extend the program immediately. But after 4.5 months, or really like 6 months from now, it is possible that we will that we have more time to use a different staking rewards contract. And who knows? I'm glad that we're not committing to 9 months, and that it seems like we're aligning around 4.5 months, because a lot can change over the next 6 months, and it's possible that we might want to deploy a different strategy or a different contract 6 months from now.
Sorry, I can't raise my hand because I'm a moderator. But if I wanted to say that this sounds like a great thing for the new security work stream to do when it gets started. Shameless plug. And we'll need new code at some point, not just for staking, but if we would like to enable stuff like gasless rewards farming. We could potentially benefit greatly as an ecosystem from revising the contract. It's just a matter of scheduling. I wouldn't want to roll on the same contract for 3 or 4 or 5 times and then have to migrate people each time. That feels to me like it'd be doing more harm than good.
Yeah, I think I agree with you, Mr. Nerdhair. I think our thought is just that with this initial date coming up, we want to go the kind of simplest route possible. But in a perfect world, there would be work before that 4.5 months are up, so that whatever the next contract is that is deployed is one that we could just keep funding without having to remove it, preferably. But there just has to be more work on that side that I don't think we have enough time between now and then right now.
Quick question. So I think I could look this up, but someone probably knows it. The airdrop starts to decay in mid-October, and the current contract is up slightly before that. Is that correct? That's why we won't have enough? Maybe that wasn't.
There's no decay. The current contract will just end. Oh, sorry, you're talking about the airdrop? Yeah, so the current airdrop contract, there's like a gap. So the current airdrop liquidity mining program will end October 15th. And then on October 23rd, the DAO can reclaim any unclaimed flocks from the airdrop. So yeah, that's why if we wanted to do the full 9 months with only a 33% reduction, we'd have to wait until October 23rd or later. And if we did that, then there would be a gap in liquidity mining. And I think I personally think it's important that we avoid having a gap that long.
Yeah, we shouldn't have a gap. So okay, thank you. That gap is significant. Okay, cool. Thank you. That's super relevant. And like after that time, there should be plenty. But it's actually nice to see that we already like it's already unlocked enough through the save layer stream to fund this thing like pre that airdrop decay. So cool. Thank you.
Thanks everybody for your input.
Yeah, are there any more questions about this proposal specifically before we hop in? Looks like we got one person requesting to speak. Layla, bring her up. There's a
Layla, you
comment in there.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think we should move on to the Ichi proposal for now. She pops up later. It's fine.
Okay, yeah, if she hops up, we'll go back to that. It looks like Brian, you're on stage as well. So let's give a couple of minutes to Ichi.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, it's been really great attending this meeting each week. I'm learning a lot on how to run these things now. So the proposal's out there. It's a bit of a skeleton, so I'm going to provide a little more context. The exciting thing is this is a proposal that generates not just a little bit, but significant revenue for the DAO. It's not looking to take, it's looking to create for you guys. In fact, Ichi doesn't even earn anything unless we create 9 times more for you. It will bring new users into Fox. It will reduce the learning curve. People understand dollar-denominated assets. It will drive scarcity of the Fox token. It will generate revenue. And it will provide an excellent lever for growing your ecosystem. We target it at around 4 million and minted 1 in the initial minting period, so you'll get a good chance to see it working. In that time frame, we'll be able to create liquidity on these AMMs at no cost. Like you just said, you're paying rewards for people to provide liquidity. The assets backing one, not only at no cost, but earning you interest instead. It will be provided a lending platform. We'll make sure that you can supply Fox, that you can borrow.
Brian, you're cutting out a little bit. It sounds like you might be like walking away from your mic a little bit.
Oh, sorry, it is wireless. It's kind of weird. Yeah, so what I'm saying is we will be able to introduce the Fox token to not just AMMs but also lending platforms and other DeFi positions like DeFi insurance platforms, all of which generate yield. 90 cents on the dollar stays in the possession of the Fox DAO. So we do see this as a proposal that will generate you revenue. It's out there ready for vote. I'm happy to answer any questions.
You just brought up one question in my mind. I saw the ideation proposal had a 85 to 90% minting ratio. Is that 85 to 90% Fox or 85 to 90% USDC?
Okay, it starts at 80% USDC, 20% Fox tokens. The key to reducing that ratio further is getting these yields that stay in the treasury and grow over collateralization. So over time, it'll drop further and further in favor of more and more Fox, less and less USDC, as long as the ecosystem is growing, as long as the Fox token is doing well. Of course, it goes the other way if Fox token price collapses and things don't go well.
Thanks for getting this proposal up into ideation, Brian. Really appreciate all the work you and the Ichi team have put into this so far.
Absolutely.
I just voted it up, but I did have one question around in the specification. It says that the Treasury would loan 1.5 million Fox tokens to the one Fox Treasury to lower the initial minting ratio from 98% to 80%. I think that makes a lot of sense. And then it says users will deposit an estimated additional 1.5 million Fox tokens in the initial minting period as a result of this loan. Can you speak to why you estimate that users will deposit that many Fox tokens? And maybe some examples you guys have seen from some of the other projects that already have 1 tokens live.
Right, that's absolutely right. So when 1inch launched stable 1inch, they had 3 tokens deposited in the initial minting period for each token loaned. Other projects have seen 2, so we just put 1 to be conservative. The 1 is based around the assumption of stable pricing, that it reaches an APY similar to the other 1 tokens, things like that. But again, I think it's a conservative number. And what we've seen with other projects is that 70% of those deposited tokens are purchased on the market. 30% were held before minting began. So you could expect people to go and buy your token.
Awesome. So this could be a way for both stablecoin and Fox token holders to get yield, basically, and that's the incentive that would likely drive a lot of deposits of Fox token and a lot of minting of 1 Fox is the idea that people will be able to get good yield on their 1 Fox tokens by providing liquidity with it.
Correct. And so what we kind of agree on in our proposals is what that yield looks like, what rewards are given out for the first 3 months, call that a bootstrapping period. In those 3 months, we have to reevaluate. The idea is to implement more use cases in those 3 months so that you don't have to persist on rewards forever.
And just to, one question I have, and I'm pretty sure I know the answer, but I think it's worth this group hearing, is, Brian, as far as I know, any work that needs to be done in terms of launching the contract, et cetera, will be handled by the Ichi team, right? So there's no additional engineering work or anything that the Shapeshift DAO should be expected to do if this passes.
Yeah, there's nothing. Correct.
Awesome.
Also, the entire thing is reversible with a vote. This money is not given to Ichi, except for there is a sharing of the reward cost. So there's no profit for Ichi right away. It's only profit for us if it succeeds. And if you want the loan repaid, you just vote that into existence. You back the token 1-to-1 with USDC and send the funds back.
Mr. Nerdhair, it shows you as talking, but I don't hear anything. Oh, he's gone. Anyway, are you back, Mr. Nerdhair? Still don't hear you. Mr.
If you're
Nerdhair,
unable to get your mic working, Mr. Nerdhair, please use that stage chat and we can get your question answered.
Okay.
exactly.
Any luck?
Oh, there you are. Now I hear you.
There we are.
Okay. So there's something I'd like to bring up with my security hat on. The process so far, our DAO has been sort of, in its fledgling training wheel state. In fact, I think all of the proposals passed so far have been text only. And then the intent of the proposal was interpreted and executed by the multi-sig fallback mechanism. I hope that going forward, we're going to move farther, move more towards the proposal actually containing the specific contract interaction. And it hasn't been critical so far, given that we've just been creating work streams and other things that are mostly administrative. But this would involve a significant transfer of funds out of the treasury and into a financial system defined somehow. And I would be very grateful if the proposal included the specific contract call needed to transfer those funds to set up the system, so that when we're voting on it, we are able to look at that contract and know exactly what the, in full, what the funds will be used for and the rules governing them will be fully defined. Anyhow,
Yes.
I know
Yeah,
this
so-
might be the first one where we end up with an actual raw contract call and the proposal.
Yeah,
But,
it's a chicken and egg situation, as the funds need to go to the contract created by Ichi after the proposal passes.
Yeah, so I think the issue there is that you can't set up a send to a contract that doesn't exist yet, and the contract won't be deployed until this exists. But I do hear your general statement there, Mr. Nerdhair, and generally agree that that's exactly what we should be going to long term. I think it might be a little early in the DAO's existence to expect that quite yet, but I do think that is a good goal that we should be reaching for, and that there's certainly a lot more we can be doing as a community to get more and more of that directly into the Treasury's control without the need for the multi-sig fallback.
Now,
Say
we
that,
did I'm sorry, we did reverse that for Uniswap, so that they can only pass something that is a contract call. And so the Uniswap stable uni contract is already there. And if we get through their governance process, the final vote triggers the transfer. But one thing about that was that we're deeply integrated with Uniswap v3. We have more features coming out for that, so we were willing to launch it even if they didn't want it. I guess we just have to reach some level of like certainty that if I don't know, I mean, it is kind of difficult just to ask somebody to put a bunch of development effort out there before you're willing to pass a vote.
I do think that there's room for a technical solution to this problem, and I would really like to. One of my concerns with fears. I don't know. I'm a security guy. I'm paranoid. That's sort of my job, I guess. But
should be, yeah.
It's all about the specification, and we can vote things up or down, but at the end of the day, the biggest security vulnerability I see is that the definition of how what we're voting for works changes between the time that the voters get the information and the actual proposal is executed. And that's not necessarily something that happens in a malicious way. It's most security problems show up as some weird bug instead of somebody actually attacking you. That there are technical solutions to that problem. I don't think I could in good conscience support creating something like that sight unseen with we're gonna make contact and then you guys send the money to it later kind of thing. Because I think that security process, the people need to have a chance to audit the contract. And audit is probably the wrong word. It's not a security thing as much as it is knowing what you're voting for.
Yeah,
I know you've had
I think what you're referring to is escrow. So if you want to say the condition for payment is that we develop the contract that you need to put the funds in, just send it to an escrow contract or escrow holder first, and then they know the conditions of final payment.
Right.
Do you have the exact contract code that would need to be executed?
We do have right now, Colony. So if we have this in place, and that's kind of one of the main things that Colony can help us do is for these proposals that pass, but we're not ready to immediately pay it out. It can be transferred to a work stream in Colony, and then that work stream can transfer the funds when necessary. But I also think it's a very valid concern, and eventually we will, not have this multi-sig safeguard in place and leave, have all transactions be included in proposals and be executed by the DAO. But I think, if you look at how most DAOs are operating right now, it is with a multi-sig, and basically, users are voting on Snapshot and they're signaling their support, and then they're trusting the multi-sig to actually execute transactions that line up with the community. And that's not the long-term approach, but that's just in the spirit of progressive decentralization. So
I would be fine with that. It's not as much about the technical mechanism, and it's more about knowing that we're voting on a specific thing. Does Ichi have the specific contract code that would end up being deployed?
You can.
Okay. So our
chat there for you.
Mr. Nerdhair, do you know how with Uniswap there's a factory contract and every single Uniswap pool comes out of it? But you can't send funds to the pool until you call the function that produces the pool. We have the same thing. We have a factory contract. It's audited by QuantStamp. It produces each stable asset contract, but you can't send to the resulting contract till it's created.
I would be fine if that specific code was specified in the proposal, along with whatever initialization parameters would go into it to set things like reserve ratios and so forth. Whether or not that ends up being one transaction or a series of transactions to actually get things set up, humans, colony workstream, multi-sig, so forth, can parse that and determine, yes, this is exactly what we all agreed on. I'm just concerned that we have something that we are all agreeing on. So
Sure.
Okay,
I've said my piece.
That's a great point.
the
In the interest of time, I think we need to move on from this, and I would suggest that certainly feel free to continue that discussion in the proposal discussion channel, and go that I do think that this is something that doesn't just affect EG. This is a more macro discussion about all of our proposals, quite honestly, and I think it's a good one to have, but I don't want to get too bogged down. We've only got 10 minutes left.
Thank you, John. And yeah, thanks, Brian, for jumping in there, and Mr. Nerdhair for going into that conversation. If we can continue at either in Discord or on the forum, the ideation post, that'd be great. Willie,
Yes,
we've
sounds-
got you up
sounds
here.
good.
Awesome.
I just
Thanks,
wanted to
Brian.
say that the link is in the chat. We will obviously support whatever mechanism you guys want. That's fine. And thanks for your time.
Thank you, Brian. Moving on, we've got Willie up here as well for the fair drop. And do we have any updates from the last time we mentioned this one? You'd like to share?
Yeah, the update. I think last time we talked about this, we committed to having it in the ideation phase so we could advance this through the governance process. And this is now in the ideation phase. So please go express your opinion on whether or not we should do this fair drop. Right now, the total numbers is that it would be up to 6.6 million Fox to 33,065 token holders. These, as a reminder, are token holders of the original list of the 13 DAO communities that were not included in the original airdrop because they were staking or providing liquidity with their governance tokens. So we've generated the list. Shout out to Mick Chadwick for generating the list of these token holders who are providing liquidity or staking with their tokens. Something to note is that while the amount is 6.6 million, we don't expect 100% of that amount to actually be claimed. Only some percent will be claimed. And any unclaimed amount will again be transferred back to the DAO's treasury on October 23rd. And also we don't have to deposit all of the Fox up front. This is a type of contract that can be topped off. So we can, put in, let's say 1.5 million Fox, and then as we see that that's getting claimed, we can top it off with more Fox. So yeah, this is the proposal that I know I've seen a lot of support from the community that was interested in this. So we put together this spec. And yeah, I'm curious to hear what you guys think. It's really up to Fox token holders whether we decide to do this follow-up fair drop. I would like to see it go through, but I also recognize that it's requesting a significant amount of Fox. I think something that helps justify doing this follow-up fair drop is the fact that with the initial airdrop, a significant amount has been unclaimed, likely because these are wallets that were using Shapeshift 6 years ago and are no longer active. So because of that, we do have a pretty healthy amount of Fox that will be transferred back to the treasury. And I think that's some good reasoning to do this follow-up airdrop and motivate these community members of other DAOs who are already staking their governance tokens or providing liquidity to get involved with the Shapeshift ecosystem.
Awesome. And do you have a timeline for when this will be going up for a vote?
So it's been in ideation for 2 days or 3 days now. So it could go up to proposal in as soon as 2 days, according to the governance process. But there's not been a lot of engagement on voting up or down. So I would like to see some more votes, basically some more signaling from the community on whether or not they support this. But yeah, assuming that we do get a lot of engagement in the next couple of days, then I would try and move this to snapshot probably no later than Monday.
One question that I did have, Willie, is there was some chatter, I think in the forum post before you put it in ideation. I'm not sure if there's any comments in ideation now. No, I don't think so. About potentially adding in Bancor, and I think you were going to be looking into what that would add, and the idea was This would be kind of an olive branch. We could reach out to them, and that in exchange, they might set up liquidity mining for Fox with their own token in Bancor. Have you given any more thought to that, or is there any way we could maybe get that number before it goes to Snapshot so we can see if it makes sense to add?
Yes, there has been some support just in the forum and discussion around doing that and extending that olive branch. We don't yet have the number of how many Bancor holders that would add. So we do need to get that. And I do still think we can push to try and have that answered before this goes up for proposal. That would be a reason to wait to put it up to a snapshot proposal until we have that number. But yeah, it does seem like there is support for also including Bancor. Bancor was not included in the original airdrop, but for those that have been following the discussion around doing one-sided liquidity mining with Bancor, yes, if we include Bancor holders in the airdrop, then the Bancor community will be, we've heard some that will be likely to whitelist Fox for impermanent loss protection and sponsor a Bancor Fox pool with Bancor rewards. So I would be in favor of that for sure. And so far, I haven't seen any pushback, but I have seen several people agree that it would make sense to include Bancor holders in this next airdrop contract.
Yeah, I personally support that, and I think it would be a really great thing for the Bancor community and would likely push them forward to do that liquidity mining for us, which ultimately I think will cost us way less Fox than trying to incentivize a Bancor liquidity mining program ourselves.
Exactly. Agreed.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Willie, for that update on that. And I hope to see some more activity on that inside the ideation so we can get some signaling and get it up for proposal. Fox McCloud, if we could hop to the next slide. We're actually not going to have enough time to jump into any of these yet, but these are the rest of the posts that we have inside our forum right now that are actively going discussion before they hit ideation. And it looks like our flow process is going to be, if you'd like to have a greater conversation about your proposal, it's probably going to at least have to make it to that ideation stage to get on this stage here, unless we can wiggle some more time. But we've got Pete Coin's marketing and growth work stream. We've got the security work stream. We've got a customer support work stream. There's a CMOD structure support work stream, a new key client V2, integrating Yearn, a liquidity mining program for HoneySwap on XDAI, Uniswap V3 for treasury diversification and liquidity mining, and then finally finalizing Fox Range tokens for the UMA token. So all of those are going in different directions of either funding a new work stream, going on a specific product or a specific feature, or doing something to help us with our incentives and our liquidity or how the DAO handles its treasury. I'd love to give some more time and stage to these once they hit ideation. So please, any of these people that are tagged on here, if you'd need some help from any of us to get it up to that next process or are waiting for more community involvement, please use the Discord proposals channel to get your feedback and reach out to any of us for help if you need to go on to the next stage. And then we've got just a couple of minutes left, so I'd like to go over one last tool and then show our POAP again. So we already had something built by the community to help us organize all of these proposals that are getting all over the place across many different platforms and Snapshot and Boardroom and the forum. And so Made by Never Was is this really cool tool that is pinned inside the proposals channel that is a Google Doc that is continually updated with the status of every single proposal, where it's at in the process, and then kind of a breakdown overall of all of them. I wanted to highlight it and give some special Fox props to Never Was, because this is a really cool tool, and I hope that the community can lean into it and use it for future governance as we go on. So thank you, Never Was, for that. And then looks like we've only got a minute or so left. So yeah, if we could go back to that POAP. Here's your POAP again, everyone. Make sure you grab that. Got to catch them all. Do we have any last questions from anyone that might want to ask a question in our last minute on the stage chat?
I just want to quickly just thank everyone for participating in these calls. I really look forward to these weekly governance calls every week, and it's so amazing that we have so many interesting and cool active discussions and proposals going on that we don't even have time to get all of them in an hour. Maybe we'll modify that timing as we go forward if that's a consistent problem. I think some weeks it will be easier than others. But it's just so great to see. It looks like Outrage Human might have something else to say, so inviting him back up here. But yeah, just really great job to everyone involved in the DAO, and being so involved in governance at this early stage is just such a great sign.
Yeah, just to tack on to what John said, it's so refreshing to see a governance system working this well, and just the breadth of ideas that are coming to the governance system as a whole. It's just so exciting. That's all.
We're down it. Thanks, Outrage Human, and yeah, thank you all. I mean, the reason this is going so well is this amazing community that you see here in the audience right now. So thank each and every one of you for being a part of it. It's so amazing to watch this all happen only a month and a half into the launch of the DAO. Can't wait to see where we are a year from now.
Joining our governance call number 5. The slides and the recording of this will be shared momentarily, and you guys can catch up with that, and look forward to seeing you all next week.
Thanks, everybody.